Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today we're going to be looking at hairy monsters and canid humanoids and werewolves. We'll start off with this first article here. What is the beast of Hackney Marshes? Well, it's a big hairy monster that was seen in these marshes, folks, and I have to say, it either reminds me of basically a Bigfoot or a dogman. That might be exactly what it is, but we'll read the article first and then we'll basically contemplate exactly what this monster actually is. A strange creature was captured on camera on Hackney Marshes 30 years after the unexplained sighting of another mystery beast sparked a full-scale search for a suspected bear on the loose. Terrified university student Helen Murray said she took the snaps while out for a stroll near dense woodland close to a path near the old river Lee on a bank holiday in 2012 in South Devonshire. She said she was stopped in her tracks by the unknown animal, which was larger than a person and covered in shaggy black hair. I tried to stay calm as I wasn't sure what kind of animal it was or if it was even alive, she said. I had my phone ready to call 999. Then the creature moved. Somehow I managed to take a couple of pictures before I ran. And I have to say, folks, those pictures are very, very interesting. But let's take a moment to basically consider this, folks. What was this creature? Was it an escaped animal from some zoo or menagerie? Or was this actually maybe some sort of supernatural encounter? Here's one of the first pictures, folks, and as you can see, it looks rather big and bulky out there, folks. Do you think it's actually maybe a man in some sort of suit? Because I'm sure skeptics will argue it looks like a matted, floor rug. Right, folks? I mean, it does look matted, and it does look like it's, very almost, I would say, so dirty that it's basically looking like it's sticking to the, body of this creature. But I can say, folks, I've seen animals, and they can look, muddy, and they can look dirty, and I would say there's a good chance that this creature is actually a living animal. But what about all of you? What do you think it actually is? Do you think it's just an animal, or do you think it's actually something else entirely? Maybe for all we know, it's actually just some sort of supernatural entity, maybe some sort of spiritual being that looks solid to us, but in reality, it's, intangible, but we don't know for sure. I'm saying that, folks, because there's several ideas we could basically look at it. Maybe it is indeed a real animal, or maybe it's something else entirely, and stuff like that. Maybe it's even a hoax. I will basically go out and say that. But the photo is rather very good, I have to say, because it does look like a real living animal to me, folks, at least. But let's get back to the article, and then we can, discuss this a bit more afterwards. I managed to get away, but was scared half to death. Miss Murray says she didn't contact the police because she thought they wouldn't believe her. A spokeswoman for Hackney Police said there had been no other reports of sightings, while experts at London Zoo said the pictures were not clear enough for them to comment. The photographs have revived memories of the unexplained case of a bear reportedly sighted on the marshes in 1981. 50 police officers, army marksmen, and a helicopter were drafted in to search the area, but the beast was never found. Officers at the time stressed the people who'd seen the animal were not hoaxers, although they admitted they could have been victims of a hoax. 2 bear carcasses had previously been found nearby in the River Lee, and it remains a mystery how they got there. Sources, various media, and books. So indeed, folks, people have talked about this, entity for decades. So, is it actually some sort of bear? Maybe it's some sort of trained animal released by its owners into the wild back in 1981, at least for a short time, and then maybe they did the same thing back in 2012? Maybe some sort of pranksters or something? I mean, I can understand why they would do that, folks, because they wanted to basically probably have fun with people, so they used some sort of trained animal, maybe even a bear, but I kind of doubt it, but it could be the truth. Either way, folks, let's get to our next article, titled, Werewolf Sighting Reported Received by Reynosa, Tampa Limpias, Mexico Authorities. Let's get into his account now, and here we get another dogman sighting and how it affected, this time, the people down in, this Mexican city, folks. Because over the years, folks, I've had few reports of werewolf or dogman sightings coming from, Mexico and South America. So, let's get into this article now and read exactly what the witnesses, saw and have to say about it. For the third time, an anonymous call to emergency numbers reported the alleged sighting of a beast with humanoid features on the overpass on the entrance to the Jerez 5 neighborhood. That was a brief blurb from the actual story, folks, and you can see it basically seems to be ramping up to basically be a very interesting one. So let's get back and read the full account. On this occasion, a delivery driver for the company of Rappi, who was already heading home in the Ramon Perez neighborhood, reported via a phone call to 911 operators that, as he was entering Los Torres Avenue from the overpass, a dog-like figure walking upright stopped in the middle of the street, nearly causing him to fall off his motorcycle, and then stared at him, and seconds later tried to grab him. Something just happened to me. A dog walking like a man came out from between the plots of land next to the Angeles and Ramon Perez subdivisions. It was following me, but couldn't catch up, and I lost it near the gas station. You need to send a patrol car before something bad happens, the dispatcher allegedly told the emergency receptionists. According to the dispatchers, the man sounded very upset, so they believed it wasn't a prank, and that he actually had an encounter with a man also known as a Nahul del Viaducto, Nahil of the Viaduct. This would be the third report attended by authorities in which people claim to have seen a wolf-like creature. The most curious thing is that all the sightings have occurred near the viaduct or on said artery. So, what was this creature, folks? Was it yet another dogman, or was this an actual sign of a werewolf? Now, I have to ask, folks, was there a full moon present? And in reality, folks, does the moon have any effect on actual werewolves if they actually exist? And is there any real difference between this and other hairy humanoid canids, folks, that have been basically seen, well, all over North America? Now, do you think that this creature has any relation to the Beast of Bray Road? Or maybe, well, dogmen in general? We just simply don't know. But the fact that this creature, like in other dogman accounts, has been basically seen reaching for the witness here, it makes me think that if this creature actually got its hands on, well, this experiencer, that maybe this man would basically be dead, perhaps? But I can't be for sure, folks. As I said, folks, there's no proven record of these creatures actually harming people, neither with basically Bigfoot, Dogman, or even aliens. There have been stories, so maybe there's a chance. But either way, folks, we can only just surmise about the real truth about any of this. Either way, let's continue with the article now, and then we can basically talk about this a little bit more. Even reports of a beast lurking at night near the Reynosa-San Fernando Highway and the Viaduct are becoming more common, but only 3 of these reports have been reported and addressed by authorities. So far, uniformed officers who have conducted surveillance patrols in the areas where the alleged Viaduct Nahul has been seen have only found traces of a larger than normal canine and some scratches on structures, further fueling the idea that the creature does exist. So, that is indeed very intriguing and interesting. So, do you think that this canid humanoid exists, folks? Do you think it's actually maybe a dogman? Or what is the reality of it? Of course, folks, before we discuss that, there's a note with a little more information, so let's read that as well. There have been several werewolf-related reports that have been published in the local and national media in Mexico. This is another example. So, I guess dogman accounts have indeed basically been seen down there, folks, but the locals think it's a werewolf. Now, do you think that's because they've seen werewolf movies and they're ascribing this creature to basically local myth and folklore and maybe worldwide folklore? Or is it possible that maybe, well, there have been reports of basically UFOs seen down there, folks? Maybe these dogmen, as we were calling them, are actually alien beings, like I basically said before, folks. I think there's a good chance. We just simply don't know, but we can surmise that these entities, if indeed alien beings are visiting us, maybe that's the reason why people are seeing these creatures, as well as basically, well, gray aliens and other, well, creatures that have been thought to basically be extraterrestrial visitors from beyond. But we can't be for sure, folks. Do you think it's an alien, or do you think it's a werewolf sign? For all we know, folks, this creature is a demon, and it took the form of a werewolf that basically, well, frighten and basically, well, I guess, attack people. Either way, folks, this is something that basically people have speculated on for decades now. And the actual answer to all of these encounters is that these creatures are actually demonic entities, and they take these forms, as I said, to frighten and basically terrorize people. Is that actually the real answer here, folks? Was this creature a demon, as I said? But we just simply don't know. I kind of basically say, folks, it could be both, because we don't know the actual answer to what any of this actually means. We never actually do. So I'd say there's a good, well, chance. Either way, folks, we're at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdog's Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.